Hey, everybody.
That's live.
Hey, we are live tonight.
Yep. Zach's not here to run the stream. And this is my first time doing it. And so, no intro countdown music or anything tonight.
Let's just jump in right into it.
We're just going to jump into it. So, welcome to the Keep Off the Grass livecast. And sorry that we've not been on in a couple weeks. It's the start of school, end of summer. Everybody's pulled in a million different directions, but we managed to get 4 of us on here tonight. So that's a win, I think. What do you think? What do you guys think?
We're working on the rest of us figuring out how to run the show. That way, if Brian or Zach can't be on for family stuff or whatever, or any one of us can try to run the show. So sorry about last week, you guys. We missed you guys. I'm sure you missed us. We're back, and we're talking about fall, you guys, or at least transitioning into fall. So how about we all let's all grab a glass. And finally,
water.
Finally, let's keep off.
Finally back. So
I've been behind on the Instagram feed for the KOTG page, but we are talking about fall transition tonight, you guys.
Yeah.
We were actually just talking before the show. Nate, you were saying you guys are going to be dropping down in the 80s. We are too. Today we are like mid 90s. And then I think going forward the rest of the week, mid 80s, and then even down to high 70s after that, possibly, which is like perfect because my yard is ready for a fall overseed.
Yeah, the weather here. And I think, some parts of Iowa have actually got, some rain. And I know I think out east, so you start getting into Indiana and all that, they're getting some rain, Illinois, but I mean, we haven't had any measurable rain in over 30 days. I think it's been 34 days is what it's been, something like that, 34, 35 days since any measurable rain, which, in the Midwest in August is brutal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and we had multiple weeks, multiple days in the 90s, upper 90s. And then, like I said, this all past weekend was in the 90s and now hopefully dropping down to the 80s, which it's going to feel awesome with overnight temps in like the 60s or whatever. That'll feel really, really good, but still, there's just no rain. I mean, everything around me is dormant. It's crazy. So
what's your, you're still watering right now, I imagine?
Yeah. So I just have my DIY sprinkler set up that I got set up to my timers. On the weeks and the days where it was upper 90s, hundreds, I was watering every day. But, anyone that has a sprinkler setup, I mean, that has a large yard, I guess I would say, with the sprinkler setup, it's almost impossible to hit every single corner and every single, every nook of it. I mean, I got multiple timers, or I got timers running off both soffits. I have multiple hoses going out. I got multiple watering heads daisy chained out, and I still I don't have enough to hit every square inch. I could probably change my setup a little bit, but I can hit about 90% of it. But the corners of my lawn, the boulevard, the boulevard is toasted right now. So it's definitely dormant in the boulevard.
Man, only 9 inches of rain for you this year, huh? Something like that.
Short. It says short 9 inches for the year.
Oh, short 9 inches. Yeah.
Who's tape measure? As long as it's not Nate's tape measure.
As long as it's not Nate's wacky tape.
Which, usually July and August are fairly dry anyways. So, I mean, that's not abnormal. But to go this long with nothing that's when it starts just putting a hurt on everything. If you get
that St. Louis got some rain yesterday. I did see that we might get some tonight. I was out there after work today, kind of cleaning up the yard a little bit. Didn't see any clouds out there, but maybe they could be rolling up pretty quick. Hopefully we get some rain. I do have my sprinklers going every day now, just to kind of try to wake up the lawn. The grass of the yard took a real beating, all the clay everywhere and just kind of matting down on it, working on it, not giving it any irrigation the entire time. We were working on it throughout, August and the end of July, all the way till now, essentially. So trying to get it kind of revived in the meantime. And then I got some seed on the way. So I'm pumped for that. And I'm looking forward to the cooler temperatures. I'm debating if I should put a little bit of fertilizer down now, maybe to kind of spur some growth or at least I don't know, rejuvenate my existing lawn, but I don't want it to like grow crazy fast while I'm also trying to grow baby grass and have it kind of outcompete too. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Would it be like if I just do a small amount of some Pro Peat or something? I got some Pro Peat. I got Little
I'd go
Simple
with the
Lawn
low-
Solutions. But
I'd probably go with the low nitrogen number.
Wait
Yeah.
until you're feeding the seedlings. That way,
yeah, maybe
if
just
you
give it some
feed-
water
if you
now,
feed
kind of
what
rake
you
it up a
got
little
now,
bit.
if you feed what you got now, it's going to be growing, and then you're going to be need to mow, and you want to stay off them seedlings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Like, I had the plan to put seed down this weekend to overseed. That did not occur. It was a busy weekend, and I didn't do anything in the yard all weekend long. So I went ahead and like dropped it a little bit lower. I went ahead and dethatched it out, and my plan was to rent an aerator and go to town, put some seed down, get it done. But that didn't happen. So now, for as great as I think my lawn was looking last week, it's not looking as hot now because I took it lower. And we're in the same boat you guys are. It was like 95 degrees today. It hasn't rained in like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. But we do have also the cooler temperatures rolling in later this week, and it's supposed to actually rain, I think Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we'll see. But that's my plan. Just like Olee was saying, I don't want to put anything else on it and then have everything else start growing and outpace some of that new growth, because I do have a couple little bare spots where
Hawkeye said some of the Earthworks 333. I do have some of the Earthworks 333. That's the one with the mycorrhiza, yeah. Yeah, I got a bag. I got a bag of that. I've been waiting. I should put some of that down with this overseed and just kind of blanket the whole yard though while I'm doing it. I think that would be good. Maybe go a little heavy where I'm seeding, but that would be a good one to throw in the mix.
That'll
Yeah,
make
that
it
was going to be my
Hawkeye.
plan. That was going to be my plan this year. Like Jack was telling us to do, like aerate and then do it
Yeah.
like a heavy, like a 1.5 kind of rate. And I was going to do that, and I just have gotten so busy the last couple of weeks. I didn't order anything. I just didn't order it, and now I'm like, well, I can't order it now because it's not here in time for me to be able to seed, because I didn't do it this past weekend. I'm hoping I can get to it this weekend, but oh well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's something I'll put down on a second app this fall. Maybe I'll just go ahead and do it, and I won't put it down at that heavy rate. And obviously I won't have the aeration cores, I won't have the holes for it to fall into, but maybe that's what I'll do.
So if you're not doing, let's just say a renovation of any sort this fall, what, we're talking fall transition. If you're not doing a project, what are those transition things that you guys are starting to do as you switch? I know there's the, nitrogen blitz theory. There's the, start mowing it lower kind of theory. There's, I guess as we prepare for fall and head into winter, what's your guys' plans?
If they're not overseeding, not doing a renovation,
yeah. Let's say you got no projects going on. Your lawn's just
healthy and thick.
Yeah, just you don't need to do anything. So what
feed it and start having some wicked October stripes for Halloween and stuff of that
Hell
nature.
yeah.
So
maybe give it like a balanced something balanced.
Yeah,
I mean,
you can possibly
or look at your
soil
soil test from the spring. Yeah.
Yep. And then do you guys, like in the fall, do you start, like in the summer? I don't put iron down in the summer, and I know that's like when your lawn starts like losing its color a little bit, but I don't know. I don't like running iron a lot in the summer with the high heat. So I typically stay away from it. But like now that if temps truly start cooling off, I'll kind of start working that back into my plan.
Give it that extra dark.
Yes. I mean, the cooler temps will start bringing it back around. And then, like I said, I'll start working some iron back in. I don't use a ton of iron. Like I'll put an app down, maybe once or twice in spring max, and maybe once or twice in the fall. But yeah, I don't do it a ton. But like I said, I do it in the spring, the fall, not in the summertime. So that's something for me that's a change that I'll start kind of as temperatures drop. I'll probably go one lower on my mower, because it's going to be growing a little bit more faster.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll drop my mower, probably mow, a little more frequently, and I'll start kind of doing some more spoon feeding type of applications, even with maybe some AMS or some iron, all that different stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm in the same. I'm of the same kind of thought process. Like I don't really do a lot with iron, especially through the summertime. But usually I do like in October. Usually I'll do, I have a couple bags of feature. So I'll probably, that's what I've done the last, I don't know, 4 years or so, something like that. But yeah, that's my plan too. Very similar, keep it a little bit lower, just to encourage making sure that whatever is new and growing, right, make sure it's not crowded out or too shaded, just to give the new growth an opportunity to continue to get sunlight. And so I do tend to do the same thing, mow a little bit lower, and then I'll hit it with some sort of, with the feature is the one that because I have a couple bags, I like it. It's been pretty good stuff. So but if you feature, main event, whatever you're going to use, Simple Lawn iron product they came out with last year. That's
one thing I'm gonna do completely different this year is, the last 3 years I lived in this house here, I've done the Labor Day weekend makeover of, typical mow it down, dethatch it, aerate it, overseed it. And I've done that, like I said, the last couple of years. So this year I'm happy with my kind of the thickness of everything. So I'm not going to overseed. But I dethatched like 2 weekends ago. I was just kind of messing around. I didn't go too aggressive with it being that hot, but I did just I wanted to thin it out a little bit and see if maybe that would help with the temperatures. So I may run a dethatch again, but I'm actually going to aerate like super late. So something I just want to try. I'm going to do like early November.
okay.
And my thoughts are I'm going to do that. Like I'm going to plant it right before my last fertilizer. So my thoughts are I'm going to aerate the shit out of my lawn. I'm not going to like mow it down. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm just going to mow it normal and then aerate it. And I'm going to do my last app of fertilizer. And then basically that'll be it for the year. I mean, maybe another mow or two as I hit into late November. That'll be dependent upon the weather, but that's just something I don't know. I'm going to kind of let it sit maybe, with the holes in it, and maybe over the winter. And I don't know. I'm going to just see what happens.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, man. So I don't know if it'll be good or bad, but it's just something I've been thinking about trying. The last couple years. So if anyone in the chat's got any feedback on what their thoughts are on that, let us know. But like I said, it's just something I've been thinking about for a couple of years, about almost, the thought of leaving it open for that first snowfall, or, maybe it doesn't have enough opportunity to close itself up. And
it'd be interesting to see how many extra weeds you get from that, because you're going to open up the soil to more things to germinate. And right through for us during that time period is where you want to be fighting POA. So that's another thing. If you're not if you're not overseeding or have a renovation, it might be time to put down a pre-emergent and try to keep other things from coming in.
I was thinking, this year I did not do a split app pre-emergent. So I just did the one dose in, I can't remember, late March, early April. Just did the one full application. So I was thinking about that, as well as I could run a just straight prodiamine or something like that. Run that down after I aerate, and then throw in the fertilizer and let it sit kind of over the winter and see how it rebounds in the spring.
Do your pre-emergent last after your hole poking.
Yeah. Poke the holes and then spread.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, let that run into winter. I don't know. I'm curious.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how your spring looks. Yeah. I mean, you're going to do a pre-emergent most likely anyway. So hopefully anything that would have popped up maybe dies over winter. And then come spring, you're looking good.
Yeah. So I don't know. And then maybe in spring, if I do that, maybe I just put like a half or like a split app down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Hit that split app in like April, and then again around like Memorial Day, something like that.
Yeah,
that's
Bill
one
and
thing.
I were. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's one thing I definitely noticed this year because I have done split apps the last couple of years, and I feel like early fall, which or late summer, whatever you want to call it, I started getting some weeds back, which in the past I have not noticed that, and I think it's because of the split app. I got that extra 6 weeks of coverage or whatever it was, but I definitely noticed this year I've noticed more weeds popping up.
Yeah, Bill and I were mentioning that we were talking about that briefly before you guys came in the waiting room before we went live. We were talking about that same thing, just that I felt like there was a lot of weed pressure this year in my yard, and I definitely noticed it a lot at my in-laws. And so my mother-in-law was like, oh yeah, I put down pre-emergent like you told me to, and I did this thing and that thing. She's like, I can't believe all the crabgrass that I've got coming up. And they're kind of like in the woods and on a lake, so it's like you got a combination of two terrible things there, right? You got like wind coming off the lake, and you got stuff blowing around, and then you got the woods, right? Just crap blowing around everywhere. So I was like, well, you know what? Next year we're gonna need to do a split app next year. And I didn't do that this year either, and I noticed that I had a decent amount of weeds like popping up to the point where it's like, I'd mow and it's like almost every like stripe going back and forth. I'd be like, stop, pull a weed out, and it's not like it's a lot, but still. I'm thinking next year the split app is going to be a way to go for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was lazy and fell behind, so I missed my second application in like late May that I would normally do of microdiamine, and definitely, come July and certainly now, a bunch of stuff has popped through, and you could tell it definitely wore off, and it was almost like it wasn't necessarily overnight, but you go a few days, you don't notice it, all of a sudden a few pop up and you see it, and it seems like, oh wow, they popped up overnight. But it is that quick. Like it wears off and boom, they start popping up. And that's right when the lawn's struggling, right in the middle of summertime, you're coming out of the July heat, getting into August heat. That wore off. But when I'm doing my overseed here in a week or two, I have the Anderson starter fertilizer with their tenacity in there. So I'm going to put that down, and I'll be curious to see, will it have any impact on the more mature weeds that have popped up, or is it more just the young ones? So I'll be curious to see kind of how that does, because that's all I'll do. I'm not really going to spot spray these weeds. Not a big deal. I'll just do a real heavy overseed, hit it real hard with some fertilizer, try to beef it up real good, and then we'll do the pre-emergent next spring and do that split app that I was too lazy to do this year.
Yeah, it looks like everybody in the chat's like really echoing that sentiment of, looking at weed control, looking at a pre-emergent application, going into the late fall and winter months. So it seems like that's what a lot of people are talking about. I've been trying to put some of the comments up on the screen. So it seems like everybody's kind of the like mind.
They want it clean. It needs to be clean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never done a fall or a winter pre-emergent application. I've always gone with like spring and then, early summer. Like I said, this year I only did spring, and I think I paid the price for it. But, in doing that, for people who are doing it, when are you doing that? Are you looking more towards like end of October? Are you looking like right before it kind of starts moving into dormancy, or are you looking to do that like kind of in the middle of the fall growing season? Like, what's everybody's thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I guess it would be what you're going after. Like what are you trying to prevent? Is that what you're talking about? What you're trying to prevent?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously it makes sense to do, it makes perfect sense, right? To do a pre-emergent application in the wintertime, but I'm wondering, is it beneficial? Is it more beneficial to do it kind of in the prime of that fall growing season, or do you want to kind of push it more towards the end of that and give yourself more protection? I don't want to say protection through the winter, because it's not like so much stuff's going to be growing, but I mean, what's the like half-life on it, and like how, it's been a long time since I've read any articles on that. So I mean,
well, that's like last year when I overseeded, a lot of people use tenacity as a pre-emergent for cool season turf when they're seeding cool season. I actually learned last year that if you use drive, the same people, the people from BASF have drive. What is it, like LRX8 or something?
Accelerate.
Yeah. It acts as a pre-emergent at seeding also, but it has a longer residual. Okay. So what I done last year is I sprayed that as my pre-emergent for seeding. And then later in the year, November, I got one app of ethofumicate down. I was supposed to get 2, but I didn't get the second one down. And my yard was the cleanest it's ever been when it rolled into spring, far as POA and far as henbit and chickweed. That's normally the major problem around here is henbit, chickweed, and POA. My yard was cleanest it's ever been. So
nice.
Yeah, Nate, that's a good point. And just put your comment up there. If you're going to overseed, right? Like you gotta kind of look at what the tolerances are for new seedlings, and putting a pre-emergent down after you seed, you gotta.
Yeah. What I'm talking about, though, is not your normal pre-emergent. In other words, tenacity, mesotrione, or drive, clinclorac is not your normal pre-emergents.
No, but those are giving you like 30 days of protection, whereas your like prodiamine is going to give you 12 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah, but the prodiamine, your grass seed is not going to germinate, so you're not.
No. I think the question was like
and mesotrione gives you roughly 14 days, and clinclorac drive gives you, around 30 or 40 days.
No, I think the question was coming from like if you did your Labor Day renovation and you're getting brand new seedlings, and so in late October, once it's to the naked eye, it would appear fully, germinated, fully filled in, all that, but those roots are so fresh and so young and so, that you don't want to use that pre-emergent then. That's what I'm saying. Like,
gotcha.
You do.
No, I'm sure you want a couple mowings on it before you would, attempt to do that.
No, I mean, if you read the bag, it talks about like not even doing it the following spring. You don't even want to. So I would go the tenacity route if I had just overseeded. If you want to put some,
and you can run, if you read the label on tenacity or mesotrione, you can run up to it's either 15 or 16 ounces per year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You can run, like for me, I do everything by the acre. So if I was using it at seeding, I'd run 5 ounces, and then you could wait, so long and run 5 ounces again, and you're still under the amount that you can run for a year. You're only at 10 ounces per acre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously what I'm going to use because I am overseeding and I am doing like a renovation on my side yard. So I'm going to be using tenacity because I have it and I've had success with it in the past. So
how often are you going to spray?
Use what I have. I don't know, and I mean, and that's kind of something that I, need to look into because I've always just kind of done it as like at a seeding, and then maybe like one other time a year I'll do like if I start to see some junk popping up, I'll go around it either spot spray it or I'll just blanket spray the whole freaking yard with it maybe one other time a year.
This is what I'm going to be using.
Bill went and grabbed the whole bag.
This is the Anderson's. It's the mesotrione. It's 0.08%. 21, 22 forwards or starter fertilizer combo. Whatever the rate says on the bag, I'm probably going to go a little bit higher than that just because I like a little extra.
Forget the application
man.
rates, right?
Just a little extra, a little on the top, you know. I round up, I don't round down.
Well, I bet you probably haven't fertilized for
Oh no, I haven't done it
8
since,
weeks at least.
I think, yeah, probably May with some Pro Pete was last time, or maybe it was the Anderson's hydrocharge fertilizer. That might have been the last one I did. So yeah, it's been a minute for sure.
Gotcha.
Bleaching. Yeah. That's how you know it's working though, man. That's temporary. It's like, oh yeah, there it is. Doing its thing.
Yeah.
Not sponsored. Hashtag sponsored.
He said.
The generous folks at the Andersons hooked it up.
Yeah.
I would have bought it anyway. That stuff's nice. It's easy. One application and you're done. I like it. All right, Olee. Well, so what are you actually doing this fall?
I will be overseeding. I got 1 or 2 places above my rocks where I only have roughly 5 inches of soil. And basically my water is cut off right now because we had a major price increase in irrigation water. I mean,
Really?
Major. So irrigation is shut off at the time being.
Was that like legislation, or did they just like readjust their cost of?
I don't know if they got their eye on me. I don't know if they don't like me.
They're onto your game.
Yeah, I don't know. It's never been a complaint, never been a problem in the past, but just all of a sudden.
What about your folks? Is their water per gallon gone up too?
My folks live over by the shop where we have wells over there, so everything's cool over there. You just pay the power bill. Okay. Where I'm at here, we actually are on city water or whatever, and so my next goal is to drill a well, my own well. So I'm working on that. I never wanted to drill a well because it's expensive, you know. You're looking at 10 grand easy. So I got my neighbor's well working to where I can possibly use it. And I went and got a 3,000 gallon tank, and I'm working on some things there. But anyway, just price doubled. We had a falling out. I cut the water off. I got to see how things really like life without water. So above one of my rocks where it's only got 5 inches of soil, that has bit the dust more than likely. So that's going to get some more overfill for sure to make it thicker, to have more roots on. And we are going to the green. They thinking wrong though. I'm cheap. But anyway, water's always been fair in the past. Never crossed my mind to dig a well, nothing, you know. But major awakening, and it's changing my focus for next year. Like, I want to do more with the soil to where it actually takes less water. So it's sort of changing my thought process on some things. So there will be more organics put into the program, or earthworks put into the program. So, but definitely we'll be overseeding with Artemis. I've got a 80-inch aerator for this year with the seed box and all. So we'll be overseeding with that, and starter fertilizer will be the Earthworks 333. And I'm hoping to get all that done long before we take off for GIE or the expo. But you only got 2 days left to register cheap. And then it doubles. But I'm planning to have all that, you know, in the ground. There you go.
There it is.
You only got 2 days left. $12.50. And if you don't go, you're out $12.50. But if you decide to go at the last minute, it's going to cost you $100.
Yep.
That's the only thing I can say I regret the first year. I should have registered when y'all registered. It was $10 back then. And I didn't until the day I decided to leave. And then it cost me an hour in line and $80. And y'all were inside having a good time. I was standing in line. And then I was out $80.
He thought to himself, never again.
$80. So don't spend the $80. Go ahead and spend less.
It's $100 this year.
$12.
So, but anyway, we'll be overseeded, and we'll spray more than likely drive for the pre-emergent, and then come November, hit it with some etho and feed it again somewhere in November with some 822 because I like the color of AMS. And just keep on, see how far we can rock on into the new year.
Into your year-round mowing.
Have you?
The rest of us jealous.
Have you sprayed any AMS with your new Z Track or whatever it's called, or whatever the hell that
Z
thing
spray.
is? Z spray.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah, I'm watering.
I put a little bit of AMS in with the Pilex and the Triclopyr to condition the water, though, not as a nitrogen feed. It was only like 10 or 11 pounds per acre before it was melted. So it's really not as a nitrogen feed. It's more of a water conditioner. And that's something, if you have herbicides and you don't know your water pH and you mix stuff up and just say your water pH is a 7 or an 8, your herbicides are not good for much more than 30 or 40 minutes. And then they're bound up to the particles in the water, and you're spraying stuff and it's not working. So that can be another really good topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Knowing your water pH. Yes, sir. The 822. That's the hashtag real smell of success, because it really smells. All right, Bill, let's hear about this irrigation.
Yeah, man, it's all hooked up, man. I got it running every morning, and then I do a quick run in the afternoon. The trenches that had like this mound of dirt along the trench where the machine dug out and it all kind of fell over with all the rain we had early on, it really packed that down. And I was afraid that there wouldn't be enough soil there to fill the trenches back in. And it was just real hard clay. You got to like hack at it. So we filled them back in as best we could. And obviously there's some big chunks and that stuff's going to settle and kind of sink in. So I'm letting the sprinklers run every morning. And then again, like midday, because it shoots that water out pretty hard. It's, it's not small kind of misty water droplets. This thing shoots out fat water, which is great if it's windy out, because it doesn't it doesn't get blown around as much. So it kind of sticks within its little perimeter that you've created. But if you have bare dirt or bare, clay, it kind of splashes around. It gets kind of muddy looking. So I want to do that for a while every morning, kind of let it kind of pack in, kind of soak in each day. Then, next weekend, once my seed arrives, I'll take this topsoil I got and kind of spread it on there and spread it down and pack it in real heavy. I got that Lansy, the new kind of roller you can fill up with water. And try to use that to kind of smush it in there and really pack the seed down in, put some peat moss over top, and then maybe with that heavy sprinkler water droplets, it won't disturb the grass too much. I could have put some straw down or whatever, I don't really want to do that, but
straw grows weeds. Straw, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, I'll see how it does. If the seed kind of gets, washed around because the sprinklers hit it too hard, I'll maybe put something over top of it, maybe some kind of a mesh or something, at least for the beginning until they kind of germinate. But I'm excited to see how it does. Really looking forward to irrigation, but it's cool getting up every morning and seeing them run. And then, I don't know. It's nice. I like it.
Mm-hmm. So you've got a good bit of dirt that's incorporated with the grass beside the ditch.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, I tried to rake it out as best I could, flatten it out as best I could, spread it as best I could, but it's you're kind of a,
you're going to have to get like a yard rake, like a stiff yard rake.
Yeah.
Get that crap out of there. If you don't, it's not going to mow well in the future.
I know. I'm going to try to blend it in with the
What would be nice if you had one of those paddles that you see on the like stick. I don't know. They're like probably called a power rake or something. It's a bunch of rubber paddles, almost on like a weed eater attachment.
Yeah,
that would be nice to walk down those ditches and just try to pull that back into the ditch, and then you could take actually just a water hose and run in the ditch, because water is your best way to get it to
Yeah,
settle.
exactly.
'Cause
Yeah.
if you don't, it will settle over time, and the next thing you know, that ditch will be 3 inches lower
Sunken
than the
in.
rest.
I know. That's what I'm
Been
worried
there,
about.
been there, done that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep hitting it, and then I'm gonna try to pack it down before I put some more soil on there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
If nothing else, try to mound them places up.
Yeah,
And that way as they settle.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
So you're all installed, 100% done. Things feel good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's running nice. It they calibrate themselves, so I got it set to like do a quarter of an inch in the morning and then a tenth of an inch in the afternoon, just to kind of get it wet again or whatever. Just to kind of play around with it and see. But yeah, other than like a giant pile of dirt I got to ready kind of fill in and get ready for the actual seed.
So many opportunities.
We're good, man.
That's
Yeah.
what she said button over here.
Yeah.
No?
Nothing's leaking, nothing's burst. Everything seems nice and tight and sealed.
We just,
the heads pop out just a little bit. That way there's enough space for a little layered topsoil and some baby grass.
I forgot where this button was.
Nate's gonna
That is
choke
what
over
she
there.
said.
There it is.
I have a bunch of clay that I built up around the water meter. My original water meter to the house like stuck out like a good 6 inches. Like the lid was up above the grade where it should have been down flush with it. So I just took all this extra clay I had and just plopped it on there and packed it in real tight. And I'm going to keep hitting it in there, and I'm just going to try to make that my new graded ground around these things. So we'll see how that turns out. I don't know. It's real half-assed kind of DIY. Just throw the shit on there and pack it in real good, soak it in, and throw some dirt on top, see what happens. But yeah, so maybe I can have it more level as I'm mowing over top of it. I don't have to go around it. I can just kind of drive right over top of them, and then just kind of weed eat around them. But they should be hopefully more or less flush with the grade now, which would be nice. If it
Do you have
turns
a
out.
marked, like just in case, like where your heads are? Do you have a marked by any means? So like the first time you mow, you're like, oh shit.
Oh, I have a whole bunch of extra flags. I had them come twice. I called 811 twice during this process. So I have so many flags that the kids have like grabbed and collected and put out everywhere. I thought, yeah, I better mark them off just, for my first time around. That way I don't, oh shit, where is it? Granted right now it's obvious where they are because the grass looks like garbage, but once my amazing overseed, takes and it looks as if nothing was ever done. Yes. I'll need to figure out how to remember where those heads are.
You'll need those flags during your core aeration.
Oh, that's for sure too. Yeah. I thought about that too. I might just like spray paint around it too. Have a little extra spray paint.
Don't get too excited and just take off out there with their, core plugger before you mark the heads.
I would be so mad if I destroy a head like right out the gate. I'd be so mad at myself.
Marking paint, or the other.
And then flag your accents holes too. Your I can't think what you call them. Your lids, valve boxes.
Yeah.
Those guys should all be at least 6 inches, if not more, down. I think the most shallow one is about 6 inches down, maybe a little bit more once I put some extra dirt on it. So hopefully those will be deep enough for some roots too. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. What seed are you using this year, Bill?
I'm just going to go with straight Black Beauty. It's all fescue. I didn't want any of the bluegrass, ryegrass this time. I just wanted to do original Black Beauty. So I got a big ass 50-pound bag coming. I don't imagine I'll use all of it, but I thought, if I'm going to be getting an aerator and doing aeration myself, I might as well set up my Milnor sprinklers in the backyard and start hitting the backyard. And then I could even do an overseed in the backyard. Now that I have the front irrigation all set up, I can use all my leftover heads and, make a spot out in the backyard where it's kind of nice. We're going to have some folks over for my son's 8th birthday party, and maybe can get the grass looking a little bit better than it does right now with some fertilizer and some water and a little bit of seed at the same time.
Right.
But yeah, so we're gonna see how it goes. I want to do like a good fescue freak base, and then maybe I'll go back to the Black Beauty Ultra, next year for like just a blanket overseed for the lawn in the fall. We'll see. Hopefully it doesn't look too mismatchy when it's all said and done, but we'll get it there.
That's right. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. And Nate, you got a project that you're working on with your pastor, right?
Yeah. So right now, basically, we've been kind of holding off because the temperatures have been just too hot and too dry, and he does not have irrigation. So kind of wanting to take advantage of Mother Nature a little bit. Looks like maybe some rain Sunday, so maybe this weekend we'll get out there. But right now we've dethatched it down really, really bare. We've aerated it, and now it's just kind of sitting. We did get some dirt, got a truck full of dirt, dropped that off at just shoved that in the yard. So he's going to work on getting all that low spots filled in. Not necessarily leveling it out by any means, but just getting some low spots leveled out. And we're kind of just, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Lansey compost spreader. And we're just going to basically shovel the dirt into that and like wheel that around and use that as like the screen to clean it.
Yep.
There you go.
So that's kind of what we're going to do for that.
Dude, that works great because that's what I did. I did that last week.
Yeah.
Well, the other day, actually. I guess it was yesterday. I did Sunday. Got out there a little bit for like an hour. I only managed to get like an hour on my side yard, but yeah, that's what I did because I tilled the whole side yard up because it was so out of whack and I want it to be like as flat as I can get it.
Mm-hmm.
So I tilled that thing up, and so then I got clumps of dead grass that I killed off with the grass and weed killer, Spectricide, and just trying to rake all that stuff out and get a lot of dirt in there. So I just dumped all the dead grass and the dirt and everything in the peat moss spreader and just took it over to a couple low spots in the front yard and just kind of let it work in. Worked great. So that's a good plan.
Yeah, and plus there's probably some clay in that mix that I got, so it'll help filter that out as well. So it'll be a good little filter. But yes, we're gonna that'll be done this week, and then this weekend, plan to put some seed down. Probably I'd like to get down Saturday or Sunday because the rain Sunday night, Monday. So that'd be nice to get that down. Spray a little bit of what was I gonna put down? Probably put some root hume from Simple On Solutions, and I think 11 from ProPete is what I'm gonna go with as the fertilizer. But the big thing for me, I got to figure out sprinklers with that lawn because the front yard is not a big issue. One of the Melnor Mini Maxes will take care of that, but along the side there's a long narrow strip, and I just got to figure out how the heck, what kind of sprinklers I have, or what we can do to keep that.
Could you do the Melnor where you make it real narrow, or is it even tighter than that?
For like half of it, I think I could.
Yeah.
And then narrow it up. The problem is like part of it's like on the side of the house, and then you get the overhang from the house.
Yeah.
So I definitely have to have 2 of the Melnors, which I've thought about doing, and then run them, like this, which is probably what we'll end up doing. But I don't know. That my other thought was like an Orbit, like one of the ones that you can set, whether it be 360 or any degree that you want. Maybe doing those for like just doing 180. So have one sitting out, and because you can set it for like a smaller stream or whatever. So I was thinking about doing that too. But the only problem is you get smaller stream that's less distance to the sides.
Sure.
Yep.
As you come and hit, so you might. I told him, I said we maybe having this thing hit up against the house just so we can get all the way down.
Yeah.
And across.
Yeah.
So a couple different ideas.
That's the problem that I've had with the side yard, the one side yard I did last year and the side yard that I'm doing this year. That's going to be it's going to have the same issue. So I'm wondering if I should get one of those Melnor sprinklers, one of those mini maxes that you guys like so much, and try one of those out. But what I did on the one side yard that I did the 365 last year is I took the Orbit gear drive. I think that's the one you're talking about, the ones I use, those round ones that are green on the top.
Yeah.
I use one of those and I set it to 180 degree, but then I make it so it sprays straight up in the air. So I don't spike it in. I kind of spike it like at an angle. So
Yeah.
it's almost laying down.
Yeah.
It's kind of a pain in the butt to get it adjusted, but like,
Yeah.
then you'll get like, that 180 kind of like this.
I know
And what I've
you're talking
noticed is obviously you're going to get a little bit heavier watering in the middle of that arc, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would be a
It's
good
worked out
sprinkler
okay.
for like those tight areas, especially like a tight area where then it gets wider and you kind of have to like have this like oddball shape. There's these sprinklers called ear green, and you could change the shape of your how far they shoot out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll just hook them onto the end of my hose, right?
No, it actually is really cool. I want to try to figure out a way to do like a little time lapse of showing them work around the different sections of my yard, because it is kind of neat to see how it just kind of changes how far it shoots. And I don't know, it is pretty cool. But yeah, that is a tough problem to kind of how to get that narrow area, especially if the house kind of hangs over it and you can't shoot very far, so you have to daisy chain more, or you have to hit the house, and then you get all the whatever the calcium buildup. At least we do with all the hard water, like our windows all look all hazy and everything from the from the buildup there. So
do you know your water's pH?
no, I haven't checked it. I probably should.
Mm-hmm.
What do you use? Are you using like test strips, or are you just using a pool?
I have a little digital.
Kit.
No, no, sir. No, because then you got to match the dang colors, and I start second guessing myself. I just got a digital.
Yeah, I wouldn't be good at that.
Yeah. No, you wouldn't.
I guess, yeah.
Not being colorblind. You're like, oh, hell. No,
Looks good to me.
I got a digital.
Yeah, it's about good.
8.4. Wow. Yeah. See, I learned that a while back. Like I was talking with some fellas, and they were talking about how I'd told them about a herbicide, and then they come back and said, it's junk. It don't work. I was like, it does work. And then we got to digging and then found out that the first yards in the morning that were sprayed, once the chemical was mixed, the herbicide worked. As the day went on and it sat in the tank, the chemical was no good. So that's when I started learning more about, buffering the water or conditioning the water to where your herbicides don't bind up, with the water, the stuff in the water. So makes me really wish when I was in school, all I wanted to do was get out of school. And now I wish I would have paid more attention and learned, cared more about science and biology and all this kind of stuff now, because I never in my wildest dream thought I'd be doing this. And now it's really hard to comprehend a lot of this crap. But, I learned the hard way. But, man, if I could go back, I would have paid attention.
Well, you're learning on your own, but I think it resonates with you because it's in the context of something that's interesting to you. Like certainly it's hard to learn shit when it's just this abstract, like here's chemistry, here's biology, but when you're putting in a context of like, wanting your herbicides to work, I mean, that's the practical application of it that makes it really interesting.
It's got a lot to do with like how much
sense.
calcium is in the water and stuff like that. Like when I was talking to them about the Anu, your PGR, your plant growth regulator, you need a little bit of ammonium sulfate in that mix to keep it from doing the same thing. And then stuff like with your Pilex and different things. And it seems to be the expensive chemicals are the ones that you really want to do this for, to where they work, because you're paying money for them and then you don't get any results. Well,
yeah, you want them to be as effective as they can. Yeah.
Yep. So,
well, that's the same thing. Like when, people talk about, what do I need to do to get my lawn to look better? You're like, well, it's more than just one thing. It's all these things combined, and any one thing is not in and of itself going to make it not work, but altogether you want it to be increase your odds of good germination or having it turn out. So similarly, if you're spending all this money on a product and if you do this other thing or make sure your buffering is right or whatever, so that you get the best or the highest yield or the highest percentage of efficacy, it makes sense to stretch your dollar for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you're putting all the effort in, to do it, you want it to work.
It's about like I heard if you are going to mix, say bourbon with Coke, you're better off to use Diet Coke because it takes longer for your body to break down the Diet Coke and you get drunk faster. So just
okay. Well, there you go.
just avoid both of them.
Yeah.
Just do the bourbon.
Yeah, just stick to bourbon, especially if you got a sore throat and you don't feel good. Yeah,
It makes you feel right as rain.
yeah. Well, I can get up tomorrow and go to work.
Yeah.
But no, it's just neat, learning things and seeing, why some things do and don't work. And so it's just cool. A lot of people, they go grab a jug and say, okay, it's a gallon of water with 1.5 ounces of this. And then, they might have good results and they might not. But if your pH is well above a 7, you're more likely, depending on which herbicide is, not going to work that well. So it's just neat learning those things.
I know with a lot of like pharmaceuticals, they have buffers in the tablets, things designed where if they can't take the acidic environment or whatever, the buffer's in there so that the active ingredient doesn't actually get exposed until it's in your intestines where it's more neutral. I would imagine some of these higher end products would have a buffer built in, but maybe not. Or maybe, if you're following the label may give you some indication as to, test your water's pH because you want it in this range. And here's what to do if you need to adjust it, perhaps. Have you seen that on some of the products you use, Olee?
Some of them do have a recommended pH.
Yeah.
And if you need to move the pH, you got ammonium sulfate for one. You got vinegar works, citrus acid works. There's some different ways of moving it, but ammonium sulfate just goes way back into a lot of this comes from agriculture.
Sure. Yeah.
And ammonium sulfate, the spray grade, comes in a 51-pound bag, and it is used 17 pounds per 100 gallons of water in about all of your crop farming. And it's used as I guess you would say like a conditioner, but also a surfactant, because I guess you feed the plant a little bit of nitrogen. It wants that. It's mixed with herbicide.
Kind of takes them both up.
Yeah. I guess it's like, what is it? Red Bull and vodka or something.
Sure. Helps it go down easier.
Yeah. Get you there quicker. So,
yeah.
Well, we were lazy this week. Those of you guys in the live chat, we didn't really talk about Lawn of the Week this week. I think everybody's been a little distracted. Kids back in school, sports coming up, all sorts of stuff. So we're on the lookout, though, because we know it's fall time and everybody's going to be laying some stripes here soon, if not already. So we're on the lookout. We just have been a little distracted here lately, but I'm sure you guys all understand how it can be sometimes with your families as well.
Yeah, start of school, and like you guys were just talking about in the chat, kids bringing home sicknesses, and all sorts of stuff. So, we've missed Lawn of the Week before, and we always try to make it up to you guys. So, use the hashtag KOTG Lawn of the Week on a reel or a post. Put it in a story; it's going to disappear. We won't see it, and we will try to choose 2 next week. When we're back on, we'll try to make it up to you guys. So get some posts out there. Let us know what you're working on. Hashtag it. And, we'll try to be a little bit better about that next week.
Next week is Flowzone. Might be a good
Hell
one.
yeah.
Might be a good one to watch.
You might want to tune in.
Might want to tune in for next week. Mm-hmm. They got some new things to talk about.
Aggressive looking sprayers, those guys over there.
Mm-hmm.
And he's he can be a very generous fellow. Can be. Might be worth watching.
You might need to tune in next week.
All right. Tune in next week, you guys. Flowzone.
That's it. Yeah, I don't know how to do the noise, but I do know how to do this. So thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week.
You got to hit the off live button.